Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Thursday, March 20th, Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down this Thursday NHL card. Of course, it's also the headline, sporting event. Today would be the start of the NCAA tournament. Although, I've talked to friends of mine, they don't give a fuck about the tournament. They wouldn't have even known the tournament was going on if I didn't mention it. So it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's important to point that out. Sometimes there's only puckheads. They're not interested in college basketball, and that's what you're here for. You're here for the hockey. You're here for the NHL, and we've got ourselves, as much as there's a ton of college basketball with the tournament going on, what an NHL card we have tonight. And son, I'm definitely going to be keeping close eye on a bunch of these games. It is a loaded and gigantic 14-game NHL slate taking place tonight, and definitely looking forward to it. We're going to talk just briefly about last night, and the only thing I'll say is Toronto, the way to win in the playoffs is playing like you did last night. Terrific defensive effort. I thought Chris Tanev and Jake McCabe, the shutdown defensive pair against the McKinnon line, were outstanding last night. They got great goaltending from Joseph Woll back on the beam after he had a couple of wobbles there with a couple of the starts he had on that road trip. It was a phenomenal performance by him. And timely offense, just enough, with a little referee assist, I might add, of course, on the game-winning goal by Steven Lorentz. But, that's what happens. It's a game of breaks sometimes. The Leafs got one, and they took advantage of it. I love how people that hate the Leafs just say, the ref gave them that game with that assist on the goal. Well, make a save if you're Mackenzie Blackwood, because I thought on the short side, he probably should have had that one on Steven Lorentz there that put the Leafs ahead. But the 2-1 win for Toronto, a great job by them. And then in the other game, sometimes it's just as easy as ride a trend that is just unbeatable right now, and that's fading the Seattle Kraken on a back-to-back. Now, 0-11 on the second night of back-to-back games this season, and of course, a team that's also scored 2 goals or less in 10 of those 11 losses on the back-to-back. So clearly a ton of issues putting the puck in the net for Seattle on these back-to-back spots, and they had those issues again last night, getting shut out by the Minnesota Wild. 3-0 last night. Gustafsson getting the shutout there in that game. It's pretty remarkable just how awful Seattle's been on a back-to-back this year. But, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what we always try to preach on this show. When you see some kind of trend that's been strong, really don't jump off it unless you're given a real strong reason to. And we're not seeing that with Seattle on the back-to-back. One thing that's worth noting here is that Minnesota, with that win, they're suddenly only 2 points back of the Colorado Avalanche for third in the Central. So, everyone's thinking that Dallas, it's just ridiculous to me, Dallas and Colorado, people thinking it's this foregone conclusion. They're going to face each other in the first round. Minnesota's only 2 points behind Colorado. I don't think they're going to finish ahead of Colorado. It probably is going to be stars as, but they're talking like it's chiseled in stone, like it's absolutely 100% going to happen. But there's still a lot that can change between now and next month at this time, which is when the regular season ends. Alex, any thoughts from you on what we saw? I know you took the day off, you passed the card, but anything you want to mention about Wednesday?
No, I actually did end up adding first period over in both teams to score in that Toronto-Colorado game. Of course, it doesn't end up coming home with that one. And I kind of second guessed myself on just staying away from the Minnesota-Seattle game. And like I said, there's no way you can back Seattle with that trend of 0-10 on back-to-backs. But Minnesota, we'd seen their form kind of go back and forth. That felt like a game where maybe they could have, kind of taken their foot off the gas, and they were lucky to get the 3 goals early because they pretty much did take their foot off the gas for about 40 minutes of play. But, Seattle hasn't shown putting much pushback, and I think Seattle's really kind of checked out at this point now. I think we can put Seattle firmly in that bottom pile of teams where we're really only looking to fade them. It's got to be something glaring for us to back them at this point. But team total overs, sides overs, that's what I'll be looking moving forward with Seattle. If you had puck line, I saw a lot of people who did have that puck line with Minnesota. That was a decent spot and a nice cash, a nice hit.
No doubt. All right, let's just jump right in. It's a huge Thursday card, and we will begin with the Calgary Flames taking on the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey, minus 180 home favorites. The total here, 5.5, pretty much across the board in this one. Very interesting matchup here. You've got, obviously, New Jersey, who have done a pretty reasonable job here of keeping things afloat without, obviously, some key pieces in the lineup. We've talked at length about the fact that Dougie Hamilton and Jack Hughes are out for this team. And, even I thought that maybe they'd go into the tank a little bit, but, they've done pretty well. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. They're 500 over their last 10, but a nice little 4-1 streak in their last 5 games. Victories over the Flyers, Jackets, Oilers, and Jackets once again, 2-1 the other night with only a 7-3 loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, the only blemish during that run. Calgary coming off a 2-1 win against the Rangers where they dominated the Rangers. The Rangers were horrific. They were absolutely awful the other night, but Calgary, give them credit. Part of it, the Rangers were awful. Part of it was Calgary made them look awful. 35-13, they shut them down, put the blanket over them, and they get the 2-1 win. A nice bounce back because the game against Toronto did not go well for them, losing 6-2 the night before. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here. Very interesting to note that Calgary has won 7 of the last 10 meetings versus New Jersey. They've done actually pretty well in this series historically. It's looking like for a goaltending matchup tonight, we will see Hungry Like the Wolf, Dustin Wolf getting the nod here for Calgary. Of course, they're still without their captain, Michael Backlund. Jacob Markstrom, not a surprise, getting the start here for New Jersey against his old team. Going to have to hope that facing his old team gets him going because his form's not what you want to see right now from a guy that was brought in here to be the number 1 goaltender, the guy that was brought in here to New Jersey to be the guy that was going to fix your goaltending problems. But he's been struggling of late. 1-4, 4.23 goals against average. And how about this abominable 829 save percentage in the last 5 starts for Jacob Markstrom? So he has not been good. In fact, you watch these 2 goalies for New Jersey, and there's no question, just in the span of the last week, maybe 2 weeks, Jake Allen has outperformed Jacob Markstrom. There's no question about that. This is a very important game here for Markstrom to try to get his confidence back, get back in the win column. He was the guy that was in net for that 1 loss that New Jersey had in their last 5 games when they got blitzed by Pittsburgh 7-3. That was a Jacob Markstrom game. So he definitely needs a little bit of a better performance tonight. Will he deliver it? Will the playing his former team be the spark that gets him turned around? Possibly. But at this price, I'm taking a chance here. Calgary plus 150. They've done well historically against New Jersey. Obviously, every game is vital for the Flames right now as they battle for the second wild card in the West. They also won in New Jersey last year when they made the trip here to the Rock. And with this price, with the Devils still missing key pieces and Markstrom not in his best form right now, I think Calgary at the plus 150 shot is worth it. Alex, what do you think here? Flames, Devils.
Yeah, this is a game where I'll be looking for a goal early and then hopefully try to look for an under 6 to pop up because right now we're seeing 5s, a 5.5 shaded to the under. I'm seeing minus 130, minus 135. So we're seeing some very low totals, and there's a very, very low total we'll talk about later. But this is one where I think it's warranted. And like I said, Markstrom needs to get back on track, and this being his first time going up against Calgary since the deal, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was hurt when the 2 teams played before, so this will be maybe the game that kind of gets, could get him back into form. We know how well Wolf's been playing, so I don't see where goals come here. This could be kind of a low and slow game, maybe a sprinkle to the draw, but like I said, Calgary on the road, kind of hard to trust them. Maybe New Jersey could get out with a burst of goals at some point in this game and get away with the win here.
Yeah, I just wanted to note because I knew about it. Looks like Jonathan's mentioning it too. That 3-0 Calgary win in November, Markstrom did start that game for the New Jersey Devils. So he did face them. He didn't play that bad, but obviously he had no run support. New Jersey got shut out in that game, 3-0 in November. But no, I think they're worth a shot at this price tag, Calgary, plus 150. It's going to be tough. The one thing, though, is this will be a tougher team than facing the New York Rangers. I mean, New Jersey is still, even with their absences of Dougie Hamilton and Jack Hughes, this is still obviously a better hockey team right now than the New York Rangers. So I still think they're worth a shot at this price. And as far as goal props are concerned for this game, when you look at the lineups here, New Jersey, Stefan Nason. Now, Matt Robinson's not on today. He's his team, by the way, Reno, is apparently about to begin the playoffs in the senior league. So we wish Matt and the Reno Ice Raiders all the best. I'm going to try to tune into some of those games when they occur. He's getting ready for that. I think their team's practicing actually as we speak, or sometime this afternoon. So he couldn't join the show because of that reason. But like I say, we wish Reno all the best and Matty with his team in the playoffs there. But as far as this game, Stefan Nason, I thought of Matt Robinson because I'm mentioning Stefan Nason, the fellow Texan, playing on the top line here with Hischier and Meyer. Probably worth a look tonight because he's up at that spot for this team. You look also at the New Jersey Devils and what they've been getting production-wise lately. Timo Meyer goals in back-to-back games. Jesper Bratt's been, as far as points go, it's just been terrific for this team, filling it up. He's got points in 4 of the last 5 games, 4-game point streak. Meyer, a 4-game point streak. Hischier, a 4-game point streak. Even our guy, Cody Glass Replace for New Jersey. He's got a 2-game point streak for them going into this game for the Calgary, for the New Jersey Devils. For the Calgary Flames, you look at their lineup tonight going into it. Connor Zary, I think, on the top line with Kadri and Pospisil, worth a look. Frost and Coronado, I'd maybe give a look toward them maybe on the second line as well. If I'm going to look toward any props here in this one. All right, Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Rangers. Rangers minus 130, home favorites, 5.5 the total. Obvious spot schedule advantage for the Rangers. Rest advantage. They played Tuesday. That clunker against Calgary. In theory, you're supposed to see this team play like it's Game 7 tonight with that's such a pathetic performance on home ice the other night. But how do you trust them? Like, that's supposed to be a spot where you're getting a team on a back-to-back on the road. They got crushed the night before in Toronto, that Calgary team that came in there on Tuesday night on a back-to-back and just embarrassed the New York Rangers right there inside the world's famous arena. That's supposed to be a spot where the Rangers were supposed to jump on that Calgary Flames team, and they weren't able to do it. It was a hideous performance. I get it. Big scheduling advantage, spot advantage for the New York Rangers here. I'm not laying anything with this team, not after what I saw that night. I get it. Toronto's on a back-to-back, not the best spot. Big win against Colorado last night. You could see it was a big game for them, beating the Avs. It's not a great situation for them necessarily. By the way, of course, we saw Joe Woll last night, which means we should see Anthony Stolarz tonight. Igor Shesterkin's already been confirmed here for the New York Rangers. Like I've said before, I mean, these teams played in New York recently, and I was on the Leafs in that game. And they won that game 3-2. I'm like, Toronto plays well at Madison Square Garden. They have won 3 straight times that they have made the trip here to MSG. And so I look at this here, and I'm very close to moving on Toronto. I'm just looking to see if the price maybe goes up a little bit before puck drop. But to me, can't justify the Rangers being favored. They're not the better of these two teams, and they had a chance to show that they cared the other night against Calgary, and it was a debacle. Maybe tonight's different, but I'm going to have to see it before I believe it. Alex, what do you think here at Leafs Rangers?
Yeah, I got first period over pregame. I laid $1.15 with that at Caesars. And this is one I just have circled live. Like I said, looking forward, maybe if Rangers get first goal to grab Leafs at a bigger plus price. Like I said, it's hard to justify laying a price with the Rangers right now. And Leafs, second night of back-to-backs, like I said, wouldn't be too worried about that. They have, both their goalies are serviceable. Wood with Wall and Stolar, so both of those guys are worth backing in a second leg of a back-to-back. And like I said, just look for a goal from the Rangers early. I might even lay that in game, depending on what that price is. Rangers to score first, and then come back with Leafs to score the second goal, and then grab money line as well.
Yeah, Peter Laviolette looks exasperated every time I see one of his press conferences post-game. And he's, what he's doing? He's throwing out those word salad answers. And that's I think he's run out of answers. He's run out of things to do to try to shake up this team. And now you see him on the bench too when they give up a goal. Like, he's just totally, there's no emotion. There's nothing. It's just this blank 1,000-mile stare coming from the head coach. And, that tells you all you need to know about where the Rangers are at.
part of me would want this team to sneak into the playoffs just for the fact that we can fade them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like they don't deserve the spot, but they seem to be kind of that lost, and that they could be right in that spot where, ironically enough, Washington was last year, where they played them and just get swept out of there in a hurry. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, it's certainly tough times for the Rangers. When's the last time they've beaten a good team? That's another thing I forgot to mention in my little analysis here on this game as to why I'm leaning Toronto. I'm only going to bet Toronto small. Like, this is not going to be best bet material. I don't love it that they're on a back-to-back here, but like I said, I think they're just the better team. I'm getting a good enough price, plus 110. When's the last time the Rangers have beaten a good team? I mean, Columbus, okay, but Columbus hasn't been the same. They've been sputtering. They've been free-falling. They beat an injury-riddled Minnesota team barely, 3-2 in overtime. So I guess those are okay wins. But then look at it. Winnipeg, Ottawa, Washington, Edmonton. They don't beat the better teams. Calgary. And then before the 2 wins there against Columbus and Minnesota, sketchy wins if you ask me, they beat the Islanders and Preds. Big whoop, as far as I'm concerned. So, like I said, I don't trust them against teams of this caliber. Even with the scheduling advantage. We'll see how it plays out. There are some props that are of interest here. Will Cooley's on a 4-game point streak right now for the Rangers. We keep talking about him. He's the one player I would look at as far as props right now for them. Matthews, isn't it crazy how Austin Matthews can't buy a goal, and now all of a sudden 3-game goal streak, 4 goals in those 3 games? It's crazy how it works. So maybe you ride the hot hand there with him. I'm almost through with Pontus Holmberg, trusting him. He keeps getting the second-line role here with Tavares and Nylander, and he's not doing much with it. Like I always say with Leaf games, you could always try sprinkling Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, Nick Robertson, small bets on each of them. One of them scores a goal, cashes. And by the way, Robertson's been a better goal scorer on the road throughout much of the season as well. So no question, I think he could find the back of the net. That line's had great chemistry, Domi with Robertson and McMahon. So definitely I think they're all worth a small shot here tonight. All right, Florida and Columbus. Panthers minus 190 road favorites, and the total here sitting at 6 or 5.5, depending on which book you're looking at. Again, shop around. Make sure you get the 5.5 if you like the over, and you get the 6 if you like the under. Panthers 8-2 in the last 10 versus Columbus. They've won 7 straight meetings head-to-head versus the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. We'll see if that continues. Like I said, after that 2-1 loss at home to New Jersey, now the 4th straight loss for the Blue Jackets. They've now scored 1 goal in the last 3 games combined, where it's time to just pump the brakes and just put Columbus in the drawer, as the late, great Dave Malinsky would say. We're not taking them tonight, obviously. Not to mention, Florida's going to come in here with 3 days rest since losing back-to-back games on the road over the weekend against the Montreal Canadiens and New York Islanders. So you've got Florida in a spot where they want to stop the bleeding and obviously bounce back. So for me, this is a game where I'm just staying off. I could only look at the Panthers, but minus 190 on the road, and I've just got to see something from Columbus before I back them again. And they've been owned, obviously, in this series by the Florida Panthers at this point in time. That being said, the Panthers losing to the Islanders, I didn't love seeing that. That, to me, even on a back-to-back, it's a loss I was not expecting them to have. So, and remember, this team is still without Matthew Tkachuk, 2 key defensemen, Kulikov, and especially Aaron Ekblad. Is it catching up to Florida a little bit? That is something you have to ask. So this is just a clear stay away a game for me. No, I'm not interested in this kind of a price with Florida. But I'm out on Columbus for now until I see a W on the board from them. Alex, what do you think here? Florida, Columbus.
Yeah, I just grabbed a small piece of team total with Florida. That's really the only way I can look in an attack here. Plus 3.5. Oh, sorry, plus 100 even with over 3.5. That's the only spot I can look at with Florida. But Columbus, you say put them in the drawer. We might be putting them in the box pretty soon. Because if they don't have a good effort here in the next couple of games, and like I said, that hole they have starts to slip away from them. You got teams like Montreal, and like I said, the Rangers are still floating around and fighting, and so this could be the beginning of the end possibly for Columbus.
Yeah, no doubt. I do like Matthew Olivier to score here though for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think it's a situation where plus 650. This guy has scored in 3 of the last 5 of the last 10 games. You got to keep riding it. This guy, what a season offensively from a guy you would not expect it. Credit to him, because everyone just thinks of him as a guy that fights and a guy that plays on the fourth line for Columbus. What he's been able to deliver for this team offensively, it's been pretty solid, no question. You look at the Panthers, there's a lot of players that have cooled off for them, and we'll see if they can. Bennett's kind of cooled off of late. That'll be interesting to see if he can get going. Carter Verhaeghe's really been quiet lately. He's only got points in 3 of the last 10 games for this Panthers team. And they're not getting the Lundell third line punch that maybe you thought they would get. The one guy I'm interested in as far as any props, goal, assist, or point would be Samoskevich. Samoskevich does have a point in 3 of the last 5 games and in 7 of the last 10 games. So definitely you could look in that direction for points there as far as him is concerned. It's tough to bet a ton and just, go hog wild betting Jackets props right now because they've scored 1 goal in the last 3 games combined. So tough to, if you're going to bet Columbus props, tread lightly. All right, Colorado and Ottawa. We've got the Avs minus 120 road favorites. The total here sitting at 6 pretty much across the board here in this game. This is another interesting spot, just like we talked about the Leafs going to New York on a back-to-back. Colorado making the very short trip, and it is a very short trip, Toronto to Ottawa. You're barely, the air travel from Toronto to Ottawa is like 1 hour. Like it's a very, very short trip. Doesn't take long at all. So it's not that bad of a back-to-back here for the Avs going to Ottawa to take on the Senators, coming off the 2-1 loss. That's the only hang-up I have here with this game is that you do have the Avs coming off a loss, but they have shown at times this year not quite the same away from home. Look at these recent road results here for the Avs. 2-1 loss to Toronto. They did beat Calgary, but they lose in a shootout 2-1 to the Minnesota Wild. Before that, they lose to St. Louis 3-1. They lose to Nashville 2-1. You really piece out this part of their schedule, the part of their season post Four Nations break, and you're talking about a Colorado team that's 1-4 on the road in 5 road games since the Four Nations break. And you got Ottawa here with still playing for their playoff lives. I mean, they're not in a terrible spot. They're actually in a pretty solid position, but you don't want this to percolate into a losing streak after losing to Montreal the other night. They're 77 points. They're 4 clear of Montreal, who have the second wild card. They're 5 points clear of the Rangers, who are 1 point out of the second wild card. We'll see in this one. Obviously, you would expect Wedgwood getting the start here, with this being back-to-back for Colorado. Linus Ullmark will be in net. Not a surprise for the Ottawa Senators. I'm very tempted by the home dog here, quite honestly. Ottawa plus 100 in this game off the loss against Montreal. I think it's a spot where, again, Colorado's won once in 5 road games. The one concern I would have is Colorado's dominance, 8-1 versus Ottawa. But I'm going to be interested here in Ottawa. Money line split with team total. The team total is actually a little bit too rich at 2.5. What I might do is just wait to bet that team total in game, get it closer to even money at 2.5. So a little bit on Colorado. Ottawa plus 100 here. I like this over. I'm going to take over 6 for sure. You could even go bifecta with it, but I like the full game more. We've got strong series history. 7 straight Avs versus Sens games have gone over the total. 7 straight entering tonight, including each of the last 3 that have taken place in Ottawa. So definitely strong over series history. Plus, I like overs with games involving Colorado, Alex, when they get shut down in the previous game, like last night where they only score 1 goal. I think the offense and getting it kick-started again will be a focal point for Colorado tonight. So over 6 for me, and a smaller piece of the Sens here as a small home underdog. Alex, what do you think here at Colorado, Ottawa?
Yeah, I have over bifecta circled for in-game wagering. I want to see the pace of play first. And like you said, this could be a spot usually where Colorado will, tend to get their offense humming. But like I said, this could also be a game where maybe these teams kind of slow it down a little bit late, especially if it's kind of close. So I do have the draw here plus 330. But I could see where maybe, if there are goals, it may not happen right away. So I think we could either, we could see the pace and maybe have time to jump in and grab maybe a 5.5, grab a plus price with that over 1.5. Or if I'm seeing where this may be just kind of a defensive kind of battle, I can just stay off of that, just ride with my draw, look for other avenues in game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that at all. A couple of streaks to note in this game for prop bettors. We've got, as far as a point streak, Giroux, 5-game point streak. Batherson, 4-game point streak for the Ottawa Senators entering this game. Big Val Nichushkin, a 3-game point streak for him. And, of course, he scored their only goal last night in the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he's been on a roll, and he's scored in multiple games in a row as well. Scored goals, in multiple games in a row. So there's definitely a couple of player props to keep an eye on. It's amazing how much they missed Big Val as far as goal scoring is concerned. Yeah, it's actually 3 straight games with a goal here for Big Val Nichushkin entering this game. And I'll throw out another one at you here that's pretty interesting. Michael Amadio, former Vegas Golden Knight, now a member of the Ottawa Senators here. Back-to-back games with a goal. He's in the range of plus 650 to score a goal tonight. Why not a little bit there with Michael Amadio for the Ottawa Senators right now? He's feeling it a little bit. Finding the back of the net, not being priced like it. Not only has he scored in back-to-back games for the Sens, he's scored in half of their last 10 games, 3 of their last 5 as well. So, yeah, definitely interested in that props. Bailey's looked with Sanderson. I talked about that. It didn't come through for me the other night. I did use him as a bargain bin against Montreal, but Jake Sanderson's always worth a look, in my opinion. No question about that. All right, Philadelphia, Washington. Washington minus 250 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. The Flyers are just in free fall right now. There's a lot of problems that team has at the moment. Goaltending problems as far as consistency, defensive issues. Can't put the puck in the ocean right now. You look at this 1-7 slide that the Flyers are on. They have scored 2 goals or less in 6 of those 8 games. Not good. They're off back-to-back shutout losses against Carolina and Tampa Bay entering this game tonight, which means this is a super system play, but the super system play did not win, did not get it done the last time we saw it. And we just saw it a couple days ago when Columbus played New Jersey. Columbus was off the back-to-back shutout losses. That game ended, 2-1 in favor of the New Jersey Devils. So be careful with this super system play. Flyers aren't scoring. I certainly think Washington can score here in this game against the Flyers. We are expected to see, it looks like, as far as goaltending for them, Ersson back in net. It's been a tough run for him, although the defense has not helped him out. Charlie Lindgren going to get the start here tonight for the Washington Capitals, and that's kind of why I think the Flyers might be able to at least break this shutout streak here tonight. They at least get Lindgren instead of Logan Thompson. And look, Lindgren's capable. Lindgren could play a great game, and we know this team is struggling to score, so maybe he does step up, play a great game. But we're still talking about a guy that has given up 3 goals or more in 5 of his last 7 starts. So if the Flyers can just, give you a couple here, I think Washington takes care of the rest. I think at 5.5, I'm interested over this total at 5.5 here tonight. More so that than the first period. This will be a small over by Fecta because of the back-to-back shutout loss super system play for Philly. But I prefer the full game more than the first period in this one at the 5.5. And I don't mind the Capitals team total overlook. I don't mind that at all. But I'm going to focus more on the over by Fecta here in this one. Alex, what do you think? Philly, Washington.
Yeah, I went with just Capitals team total over. I got minus $1.06 with that over 3.5 at FanDuel. I think this is a great price for it. Can't trust Philly defensively. Like I said, maybe they can find a way to solve Lindgren, and if that's the case, I think there'll be time to bet options for Philly to get goals in game. But as far as pregame goes, that's a really cheap price. I was expecting to see 125, 130, honestly. So at $1.06, and that was FanDuel where I got that. I'm going with Caps team total over.
Nothing wrong with that. Yep. Protas, McMichael, Wilson, Dubois. I would say all those guys are live for props.
Ovi last goal again, of course.
For Washington. Ovi last goal. That's obviously a go-to every game until he finally breaks this record at 100%. Definitely agree with that. By the way, we've got multi-point streaks going into this game, multi-game point streaks going into this game for Ovi, Pierre-Luc Dubois. You down with PLD? Yeah, you know me. Tom Wilson, Dylan Strome, Alexei Protas, John Carlson. They're all on multi-game point streaks entering this one here for the Washington Capitals. That being said, the only prices that are worth betting standalone for point props would be Protas and John Carlson. you have to lay a small price with Carlson, and it's actually plus money for Protas to get a point here for Washington tonight in this one. And, of course, for Philadelphia, nobody's on a point streak right now because they're not scoring as a team, and they're off back-to-back shutout losses. But I do think they get on the board. I like the Washington team total overlook, but I like most of all the first period full game over because I do think the Flyers will chip in something tonight. If they don't, my goodness, you're going to start wondering, when is this team going to find their offensive game? And you're right, Mishkov has got to kind of get it rolling again. He's obviously had a tough run. He's been in John Tortorella's doghouse before, and we'll have to wait and see if he can be that finally get off the schneid a little bit here for the Flyers. All right, Montreal Canadiens, New York Islanders. Got the Islanders minus 140 home favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5, pretty much across the board. Sorokin confirmed, Montembeault confirmed, so we already have our goaltending matchup. Caden Gooley is close to returning on the blue line for Montreal, and it would be a big boost to that blue line. He's a very underrated player, but he will not be back tonight. They thought maybe he'd return tonight, but they're going to hold him out for at least another game and then see if he's able to return after that. You look at this New York Islanders team, they're certainly a team that is still right there in the mix as well. Somehow, I think we've tried to bury the Islanders a few times, and they're just hanging around right now in that playoff mix. 70 points, 3 back of Montreal, the team they're chasing for the second wild card. So this is a huge game for the Islanders because they're in the trail position. They're 3 points back of Montreal. Can they get the job done? Perhaps, but right now, I look at these two teams, and yes, the Islanders have beaten Pittsburgh and Florida at home, back-to-back games. They actually have a winning record, 6-4 in their last 10 games. Solid stuff. This Montreal team, though, is on some kind of run, 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. We talked about how strong they have been, obviously, coming out of the Four Nations break. They got Colorado at home, and then they go to St. Louis and Philly after that. This is an important 2 points here for Montreal. It's a big win for them against Ottawa in their last game. See if they can carry that over here. This is dog and draw for me, though. I just feel Montreal's better than the Islanders still. I'll take a shot plus 120, and I like this draw almost as much, honestly. 3 straight games have gone past regulation head-to-head with the Canadiens and the Islanders. So we're taking an old stroll down memory lane here to Thailanderville and hoping they can get it done for us here tonight. So Montreal plus 120, and we're taking a shot as well with the draw here in this game that you can get at a pretty solid price. Alec, also, I think this over is worth a look here, 5.5 at that number. If you look at Montreal, they're scoring right now. They have scored a grand total of 17 goals in the last 4 games. Even look at the New York Islanders, 2 straight overs, and they've scored 4 in each of their last 2 games. So I thought just based on the uptick and the improvement and the short-term offensive proficiency that we've seen from both teams, that I think 5.5 is worth a bet over the total here. Alex, what do you think? Habs, Islanders.
And then looking at LJ from H-Town stat too, Montreal 10-4 to the second period over in their last 14 games. So when you add that in, this may be one where, and I don't really, the first period over doesn't really ring loud to me in this one. So this may be one where we can grab 5.5 at plus money, maybe even 4.5 laying a price. And go over the total. So that's something I will have circled, but I'm right there with you on dog and draw. I went a little bit more with Montreal than I did the draw. I got plus 330 with the draw, but I've pretty much been riding the Habs nonstop since that run, that 7-1-2 run. So this has been a team they continue to give us good plus prices, solid, chalk prices, and we're never seeing them really laying too big of a price or it's too big of a dog these days. So they're within betting range for me. Like I said, the Isles, like a bad cold, you just can't get rid of them. They still been sticking around. But I think the Habs have what it takes to get the victory here. Whether it's in 60 or past 60, I think Habs are live here in this spot. But I do have a little bit of draw as well.
Clayton Hudson, you got to take him. 3-game point streak. Even the goal prop, sprinkle on that because we obviously saw him score beauty the other night against Ottawa. Simon Holmstrom, finally, 2 games in a row, he's gotten a point, and 2 games in a row, he scored a goal for the Islanders. So I think he's probably worth a shot here, plus 300. Assist prop, goal prop, anything Holmstrom, top line opportunity for him. And I think we might have to bet Christian Dvorak tonight. 2 straight games with a goal for Montreal, and he's plus 650. I mean, why not? Ride the wave. You see this every now and then. It's just a little bit of a offensive bump in confidence for someone that you don't expect. And right now we're seeing that from Christian Dvorak here for the Montreal Canadiens, plus 650. Noah Dobson with goals in back-to-back games from the blue line as he continues to get more and more in rhythm since being out for so long. And like I said, he's scored in back-to-back games as well for this Islanders team from the blue line. So there's definitely a couple of longer shot goal props just based on shorter form abilities here. And like I said, 3 points and a pair of goals for Noah Dobson here in these last 2 games against Pittsburgh and Florida for the Islanders. So we'll see if he can keep going. That is a playoff game in March, by the way, Montreal and the New York Islanders, as is this next game, Vancouver and St. Louis. How about this? These are the 2 teams tied for that second and final wild card spot right now in the Western Conference. We've got St. Louis minus 140, home favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5. It's a huge game. It's even bigger for St. Louis because they've got this game at home and they've played 1 game more than Vancouver. So Vancouver actually has a game in hand on St. Louis. So this ends up being very important here for the Blues. I think the Blues are the better team, quite honestly. I'll take St. Louis. I'm not going to screw around here. We're going to just take minus 140. No regulation. I could see this being a tight game, close game. But obviously, I like the way the Blues are going right now. Binnington in net for St. Louis. Lankinen for Vancouver. Connor Garland, by the way. Philip Hedl still out for Vancouver, by the way. And it looks like Connor Garland, who don't sleep on this potential absence if he doesn't play here tonight for Vancouver. I know they beat Winnipeg without him, but that is certainly a concern if he doesn't play here for the Vancouver Canucks tonight in this game. We'll see if Vancouver can. Vancouver played a great game. Like I said, I love the spot and I love the price with Vancouver against Winnipeg the other night. We'll see if they can carry it over here on the road against the St. Louis Blues. It's interesting to see, but you look at these 2 teams and Vancouver in particular. Brock Besser. We'll see if he can continue to produce. He got a goal the other night. There's a lot of players that are really chipping in. Pius Suter's actually been very good for Vancouver. He's actually scored in 5 of their last 10 games, 3 of their last 5. Plus 430 for him to score a goal is not that bad of a consideration here in this game. No doubt about it. You look at point props here. Pettersson for the Canucks. Let's give him some credit. He's gotten a point in 5 straight games. Won't you be my neighbor? Jake Neighbors for St. Louis heating up. Points in 5 straight. Goals in 3 straight for him. So Jake Neighbors props. Robert Thomas with a 4-game point streak. Our old friend Holloway. Dylan Holloway with a 4-game point streak. Justin Falk, a 4-game point streak. Quinn Hughes, a 4-game point streak. 3-game point streaks for Jordan Kyrou and Cam Fowler for the St. Louis Blues. So you got a ton of players on both sides in this game on either goal streaks or point streaks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But like I said, I like St. Louis. Think they're the better side. I don't love minus 140 now. It's a little bit better earlier in the day, but I think they get the win here in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Canucks, Blues.
Yeah, this is the one where I instantly grabbed the draw. I got plus 320 at BetMGM. We've seen 4 of the last 7 meetings between these 2 teams go past regulation, and obviously with a battle directly in competition with one another and tied with points. This is draw season spot written all over. I lean with St. Louis, though. I will more than likely try to grab some St. Louis the plus price in game.
Good idea.
And then, price. Yeah, we're seeing some wild prices with these totals. 5s now at 3 books. I'm seeing MGM, FanDuel, and Caesars all with 5s shaded to the over, minus 140, minus 145. I'm seeing plus 110s, plus 115s on the over, 1.5. So this is one to wait for live. I'll maybe grab a little 4.5 potentially, or grab plus 130 if I see it with the first period over at that 1.5 price. I think we could see some goals here. So that's that 5.5. I don't know if we go completely over 5.5. But there should be time in game to grab 4.5 at a decent price and get a huge plus price on that first period over.
It's a tough one because 3 straight overs in the series history, and yet I find that it could be a tight game. With everything on the line, and the goaltenders are very capable on both sides. Lankinen's had a great year. He saved the Canucks really with Demko, just being out of commission, and of course Binnington, since just before the Four Nations break, then how he played at Four Nations, and now post Four Nations, how well he's played. So it's a tricky one. The series history does say over, but with these two goalies right now and the importance of the game, I could see it being tight check, especially with a guy like Tocchet, man. That guy in a big game, he wants a defensive battle. And so it'll be interesting to see how that's why there's a good live betting situation with the total.
Yeah.
See what the pace is like.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even though both teams would want to play a tighter style, and I do believe it'll be a tighter, especially if it's tight and close late in the game, that it'll tighten up. But early in this contest, we could see some back and forth pace. So that's the thing I'm looking for. If we see that pace early, and then we could grab something late. Like I said, this is a great live game. This would be a game where I kind of wish we had the bet cast for, to be honest.
Yeah, well, blame the NCAA tournament scheduling or positioning on the schedule for that.
All right,
obviously, we probably would have had one tonight. We would have had one this week if there was no NCAA tournament. We would have had a bet
definitely,
this week, no doubt about it. But we got one next week, and we'll make sure we promote that and mention that again at the end of the show. Patreon exclusive next Tuesday. We will be back finally with another betcast. All right, Tampa Bay and Dallas. We've got Dallas minus 115 home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. The Dallas Stars, they're trying to go on I believe, a home franchise record home win streak that they can get tonight if they win. Now, this is the Dallas part of the franchise. This doesn't go back and include the Minnesota North Stars. This is just the Dallas, since they've been in Dallas from 1993, because I believe the franchise record, including Minnesota North Stars as well, is 11 straight home wins. I believe Dallas is going for 8 straight home wins here in this one. And Casey DeSmith in net. Very interesting. Casey DeSmith getting the opportunity here in net. I don't mind it. I think Ottinger can raise his game to another level. Ottinger's been okay, but he hasn't been bad, but I know he can be better than what we've seen from Jake Ottinger in the Anaheim game or the Colorado game or some of his recent starts, the Winnipeg game, go on down the list. So I don't mind them giving Casey DeSmith this opportunity. Plus, you want to keep Jake Ottinger as fresh and energized and rested as possible for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tampa Bay with Andrei Vasilevsky, no surprise there in net for the Lightning here in this game. You look at Tampa Bay, they're coming off the back-to-back wins after a little bit of a struggle for them for a little bit out of the Four Nations break. They were 2-4 before getting these back-to-back wins against Boston and Philly. Here's the problem, though, with Tampa. You start to look. The 4 wins they've had, of late. They did beat Washington March the 1st, but they have had some issues lately beating a lot of the wins have been against weaklings. Philly, Boston, Buffalo, Columbus when they were struggling. That's been a lot of the wins lately here for this Tampa Bay Lightning team. So we'll see how this one plays out here, Lightning and Stars. Dallas, we've talked about this with them for like the last month. They have been just a huge over team, huge over machine. Tampa Bay actually has been a team that's kind of been not lighting it up offensively. They've only scored a grand total of 3-4. Well, they had the outburst against Boston for 6, but you take that away, and in the other games, they had only scored 6 goals in the other 4 games combined, if you take out that Boston game. But Dallas has been an over machine. We've talked about this. They've been one of the better over teams in the NHL since the Four Nations break, for sure. 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games alone. Cashed a best bet winner with Anaheim, Dallas over the total on Tuesday night. I'm going to take over 6 here. I'm actually going to take Dallas here, minus 115, to get that franchise record home win streak tonight. Don't trust Tampa enough on the road. Again, the road issues for the Lightning. They beat Boston on the road, but this is also a team that lost to Florida on the road, lost to Carolina on the road, and lost to Philly on the road in recent road games. So I'm going to trust Dallas that even with DeSmith and net, they are capable of getting this job done and this victory here tonight at home. And they know they're going for the franchise record home win streak as well, the Dallas franchise home record win streak. So I'll take a shot with them. And they won at home against Tampa last year. So I'll take the Stars. You're not going to get the Stars at home at this price very often, minus 115. So I'm on that. Alex, what do you think here? Tampa Bay, Dallas.
Yeah, like you said, you have to back good teams when they're giving you cheap prices, and that's the matter of fact with Dallas. Like I said, going for a record. DeSmith played well. Even though you would kind of think that, oh, Lightning Stars, they would just give Ottinger that start against Vasilevsky being two of the best goalies in the world. You feel like that would kind of just be an automatic battle, but that just shows you the trust Dallas has in DeSmith. And so, like I said, this is a Lightning team that, their wins are kind of a little softer compared to some of the competition that they played against. So, like I said, $1.15. This is worth the spot here with Dallas. Didn't take a shot at the over. Like I said, no, Dallas has been kind of an over team. So this is one where, once again, look for something live to matriculate. If we're seeing the pace back and forth, and we can jump in with that. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay on the money line.
Yeah, Nick Paul, no doubt. Tricky Nicky Paul for Tampa Bay, and it's his birthday, no argument. I mean, certainly I would look toward him for any sort of props here for Tampa Bay. He'd be right up at the top of the list for them. He has been obviously solid most of the year. By the way, as far as point streaks go, Mason Marchment, 3-game point streak. Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, Rope Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, 2-game point streaks for the Tampa Bay Lightning. How about Thomas Harley? I believe he got a goal and an assist in the last game. His props are still undervalued as he continues to, carry the water for Miro Heiskanen being out on that blue line, play all the power play minutes. So that's worth a look. Goal props, by the way, Michael Granlund scored the last game, and he's still up there, pretty good position in the lineup for Dallas right now. So I don't mind taking a look toward maybe Granlund, maybe finding the back of the net here tonight for the Dallas Stars in this one. Robertson, Hintz, and Rantanen, they keep that line together. No doubt they've been capable. But like I said, I think Granlund on that second line, definitely value with Mason Marchment and Matt Duchene. And yeah, Wyatt Johnston's been crazy productive at home. I think you're right about that, Jonathan. He is on some kind of crazy home point streak. And Wyatt Johnston has been certainly very good as of late for Dallas, and especially on home ice. All right, Anaheim, Nashville. Nashville minus 170, home favorites. 6 the total, shaded to the under here in this game. Does anyone care that it's revenge for Nashville for losing in Anaheim recently? Anybody care about that? Because I don't. This price is ludicrous. Anaheim, plus 150. Win or lose, you got to take them at this price. This is ridiculous for Nashville to be minus 170 against anybody right now. You look at them, 3 straight losses. I know they lost at Anaheim, revenge spot. That's you can stick that revenge spot where the sun don't shine. Anaheim's beaten Nashville 4 of the last 5 meetings too. So yeah, got to just take a shot here. Anaheim plus 150. Now it is Gibson in net, and he hasn't played for a while, but he's returning from injury, and he was playing actually okay before the injury, but he has been off for a while. That's always a bit concerning. But Nashville makes concerning goaltending situations look good right now. 2 goals in the last 3 games combined during this losing streak. So, yeah, if you want to lay this kind of an insane price with Nashville, and okay, if you win, sure, but knock yourself out, but I'm not doing it. Alex, what do you think here? Anaheim, Nashville.
Minus 170 with useless Onanen. No, thank you. I'm right there with you on Anaheim.
Yeah, and the team total. I'll split it with that team total with Anaheim too. Yep.
Yeah. This is a clear dog in team total spot for sure. Like I said, just can't back Nashville right now at this kind of a price. This is simple as that.
That was terrible the other night against St. Louis. I thought they were pretty bad in that game. Now St. Louis is playing really well. That's part of the puzzle as well. But yeah, that was just hideous from what I saw with the Nashville Predators the other night at home against St. Louis. There are some props that are interesting. We got to ride maybe the wave here with Nikita Nesterenko for Anaheim. I mean, we've mentioned him the other day, and now suddenly this guy has scored in back-to-back games for this Anaheim Ducks team. He's questionable, though. I do want to point that out. That would be a shame because he's scored in back-to-back games. He did miss the morning skate against for this game this morning. So we'll see if he's able to play, but that may not be a good sign that he's maybe not in the lineup here for Anaheim tonight. You're right, useless Onanen has not been very good here for the Nashville Predators, and we'll see if he, and again, what's his overall numbers here? 3.05 goals against, 890 save percentage. So not very good. And with the Predators, 3.14 goals against, 885 save percentage. So
he's a ball.
Yeah, Leo Carlson's a good one too, Jonathan. Yeah, Leo Carlson. You look at him; he scored the last game for the Ducks, plus 375. Pretty good price there as well. All right, next up, we've got, as we continue along here with this slate. I lost my position. There we go. Los Angeles and Chicago. I think we saw the Kings go to Chicago recently, if I'm not mistaken. It was just a few weeks ago, but now they are back in the Windy City once again, laying minus 270 here in this game against Chicago. The total here at 5.5, shaded to the over. And I remember that LA-Chicago game that we just recently saw between these two teams because LA did not get the job done in that game recently at the United Center against the Blackhawks. It was a 5-1 Chicago win. Yep, it was just a couple of weeks ago, and it was, I believe, the debut of Knight that night. The first game for Spencer Knight. He was spectacular in that performance, 40 saves, 1 goal allowed, and Chicago got the 5-1 win. So Chicago's shown you they can beat this team. I'm waiting to see if it's Knight starting for them tonight. Now, Knight did not have one of his better games against Seattle the other night. The whole team was lousy. Let's be honest. You can't put that all at his feet, what we saw in that game. So we'll see how this one plays out here between the Kings and the Blackhawks. I don't know if I can take Chicago this time, but I'm sure as hell not interested in LA minus 270 on the road. I am not interested in LA ever at this price on the road. I don't care who they're playing. And we're already seeing it again with this Kings team. Road issues. 1 goal in a loss to Minnesota, 3-1 to start this, mini little 2-game. It's only a mini 2-game road trip because they go back home after this. But before that, they lost to Chicago, St. Louis, and Dallas on the previous road trip. They did beat Vegas on the road, but again, 13-23, the road record here for the LA Kings. Put it this way, for as bad as Chicago's been this year, and it's been a rough season, nobody knows that better than the man next to me here on the screen. But the LA Kings have as many road wins as Chicago has home wins. So you want to go ahead and lay minus 270, knock yourself out. Not for me. I haven't made up my mind if I'm taking Chicago, but it's the only way I'm taking it on the money line here. Alex, what do you think here? Kings, Blackhawks.
Only bet I made here was the first period over 1.5. I laid $1.18 with that at FanDuel. I see $1.20 at Caesars. This is just a simple spot. Like I said, you can't back LA at home, but you can't back Chicago right now either. But more than likely, we're going to see Soderblom in net, who he's had his struggles against LA. He's had his struggles against most teams. And I think with the fact that the Kings, like you said, kind of played a little lifeless in this spot a couple of weeks ago, I think they come out here early with a goal or two. So I like the first period over here. It's the only thing I can back. Like I said, I think if this goes back and forth, if the Hawks actually wake up and play fucking hockey for 60 minutes, then maybe we get a shot to grab them live at some point tonight. But I'll wait. They have to show that to me first before I jump in with any bet there. So first period over for me.
Yeah, and how about the fact that we have seen Artem Levshunov here for the Chicago Blackhawks, points in back-to-back games. Alex Vlasic, points in back-to-back games as well for the Blackhawks on the blue line. So there's a couple of point streak players to keep an eye on here in this game tonight for their respective teams. Quinton Byfield, yes, the goal streak got snapped, but not the worst idea in the world maybe to come back to Mr. Byfield here tonight. He has still been one of the best goal scorers lately for the LA. When they do score goals, this team, Quinton Byfield has done most of the damage, and he does still have goals in 6 of the last 7 games for the LA Kings entering tonight. So you could go in that direction. They're going to get. It looks like Jim Hiller might be putting or experimenting here with Andrei Kuzmenko with Kopitar and Kempe. Interesting to see how that goes. Trying to get a little more punch from that trio. Fogle, Deneau, Moore stay on the second line. For Chicago, if I'm going to look at props for them, I've always said Teravainen, Donato, Mikheyev has been probably one of their best line consistently. Bedard has shown some glimpses lately. He's with the Trooper Dickinson and Frank Nazar tonight as far as on the top line for the Blackhawks in this game. All right, next up as we continue along here on this Thursday NHL slate, still got 4 games to go. We've got the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Utah Hockey Club. We've got Utah minus 180 road favorites, home favorites, I should say, at the Delta Center. The total 6 here in this game, pretty much across the board. An absolute ass-kicking suffered by the Utah Hockey Club the other night against the Edmonton Oilers. I thought they would be more competitive than that in that game. And Edmonton, though, did get Hyman and Matthias Ekholm back, and you could see just what a big boost it was for them. That being said, it was a horrible game from the Utah Hockey Club, no question about that. They're certainly going to have to be a whole lot better here tonight in this game. Vejmelka, is that just a one-off? Look, Edmonton can make any goaltender look bad on a certain night. Was that perhaps just a one-off that he struggled, Vejmelka? Or, is it a sign that maybe Andre Tourigny is just playing him a bit too much, because he's played so much hockey lately, and you always do wonder if certainly this is a guy that maybe starts to get fatigued a little bit down the stretch. Does that start to set in here for him just a little bit? That being said, you got an embarrassed Utah team back home against clearly a beatable opponent in the Buffalo Sabres. Although Buffalo has won a couple in a row, overtime and shootout wins back-to-back, home to Vegas and then in Boston. This will be a little bit tougher, though, making the long trek out here to Utah, a Utah team that's coming off that 7-1 just excoriation the other night against the Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to go with a double-up team total on Utah here for sure. I'm going to go with the old Utah team total over in the first period. Look, over 1, at plus money, and then take a shot that maybe they score 2 in the opening period to cash that. And I definitely like the full game team total over 3.5 here with the Utah Hockey Club as well in this game. I think they get 4 against this Buffalo Sabres team, who, by the way, they keep running their goalie into the ground as well, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's not confirmed yet, but it's projected that he'll get the start here tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. So I like the first period and full game team total overs for Utah more than anything here. Alex, what do you think? Sabres, Utah.
Yeah, I went with over by fact, and it was simply off of the fact that when I saw Vejmelka confirmed, so now his 11th start in the last 12 games. Like I said, more than likely UPL. These are 2 goalies that have just been running to the ground right now. The only way I can look is overs, especially when you have a team that's still playing for something in Utah where Buffalo's completely out of it. Over 6 and land just $1.25, $1.30 with that first period over. I went with the over by fact.
All right, over by fact. I don't mind that either. The over by fact for Alex here with Buffalo and Utah. As far as props for this game, certainly you'd expect a bounce back performance here from this Utah Hockey Club squad. By the way, as far as Utah is concerned, Logan Cooley on a 2-game point streak. I think Cooley, Gunther, Schmaltz, Keller, that quartet, pretty quiet last game. So may have the chance to step out and play better. Interesting that for Buffalo, Ryan McLeod and Bo Byram on point streaks. 4 straight with a point for McLeod, 3 straight with a point for Bo Byram going into this game. We'll see if that continues for them going into it. But like I said, I think definitely it feels like a good bounce back type of game here for the Utah Hockey Club in this one. All right, next up, we've got the Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton minus 150. Sorry, did I say 50? 15 is what I meant to say. Edmonton minus 115, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. Jets coming off that 6-2 loss to the Vancouver Canucks. One of their worst games in some time. Definitely one of Connor Hellebuck's worst games in some time. He certainly struggled in that game against the Vancouver Canucks. But now you got this team probably in a bounce back type of mode here. Hellebuck confirmed in net, and long term, Connor Hellebuck's been a goalie that's been good off of a bad game. So we'll see if that is indeed the case here once again. For the Edmonton Oilers, Stuart Skinner will get the start after they went to Calvin Pickard in back-to-back games, which he won, but back to Skinner for this game tonight. The big news and the big development is that Leon Draisaitl is not going to play here tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. He's been downgraded to out for this game for the Edmonton Oilers, and you're talking about a phenomenal season for him. 49 goals, 52 assists, 101 points, undisclosed injury, and will not play tonight. And it's actually the very first game he's missed all season, so he has been an Iron Man for this team, but he will miss his very first game due to injury tonight for Edmonton. So I like Winnipeg here, and I liked it at a little better price than this, a plus 110, plus 115, but I think it's a good bounce back spot. I know Edmonton is feeling a little bit, content now after drumming Utah in their last game. Winnipeg won't be happy about the way they played in Vancouver. I guess the only concern is that a sign? And the Seattle game, they were down early and they had to come back and win. Is complacency setting in because they're just so far ahead in the Central Division? That's your only concern here because they're 98 points, 9 points ahead of second place Dallas in the Central Division. But I think for tonight, they shouldn't be happy with that thing. I watched that Vancouver game. That did not resemble the way the Winnipeg Jets have played much of the year. I think they do show up tonight, and if they do, I think they got a good chance to get the dub. So Winnipeg, I got it at plus 110. It's flipped a little bit. Obviously, the Draisaitl news is what influenced this line closer to even money, but I still like Winnipeg at the current price. Alex, Jets, Oilers.
Yeah, this is another game where I like the over by factor, but I'm going to play it more of it in game. First period over, I did play pregame minus $1.05. I see it at circa minus $1.10, available at BetMGM. And like you said, I think Winnipeg knows they have to come out with a little bit more effort and pace early. We know Edmonton's been a great first period over team, so I think we see goals here early. But 5.5, I think the books are kind of, like I said, just generally going with because of more than likely Hellebuck start. Just kind of shading this a tad bit too low. I think we can see some goals here from both teams. So looking at the over by factor, but a little heavier on that first period over.
Which for Edmonton, I believe it's cooled off a little bit, but the long-term numbers for the Oilers, we've talked about this, over the last, I believe, few weeks on the show, how good of a first period over team they have been. It had been pretty strong. Like I said, cooled off a little bit, but yeah, I don't mind the first period over. I definitely prefer first period over than full game. This could be one of those games too, where the Jets too coming off a loss, maybe they pounce early. So the first period over is of interest. I think it could slow down after that a little bit, but definitely the first period I could see that maybe going over the total. And by the way, Winnipeg, I think that's 2 games in a row they've gone over in the first period. Seattle game was a first period over. The Vancouver game was a first period over as well. So I think that first period over, I might tack that onto the portfolio here as well in this one. As far as any props here for Winnipeg and Edmonton, just a couple of things to note. Victor Arvidsson. Been waiting for Victor Arvidsson to finally rear his ugly head. No, I don't want to say ugly head like he's an ugly person or anything, but you know what I mean. We were waiting for him to show up finally for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's now scored in back-to-back games. So good on him. It's not been the season he hoped for. It's not been the season Oilers fans hoped for from Victor Arvidsson, but finally he's chipping in back-to-back games with a goal, and he's actually stayed healthy. So Perry and Brown with Nugent Hopkins. There's probably some value there with Perry and Brown. Jeff Skinner could be with McDavid and Zach Hyman tonight, so could be some value there if he gets that top line role and opportunity. Vlad Nemesnikov with a 2-game point streak right now for the Winnipeg Jets. He's certainly been stepping up with Perfetti and Ehlers on that top line, so I don't mind maybe looking at Nemesnikov here as a little under the radar prop here for the Winnipeg Jets in this one tonight. All right, Boston Bruins and Vegas Golden Knights. We've got Vegas. Wow, minus 300 home favorites in this game. The total here, 5.5, pretty much across the board. This is the system play, so I'm going to have to run Boston to score in the first period. I'm probably going to end up betting that. I don't know how much I love it, but, it is part of the system that we've been talking about here on the show. And you do have Boston off, a couple of losses in a row. Again, you're starting to see this Bruins team fade and starting to become the team I think a lot of us kind of expected them to be after dealing away Marchand and Charlie Coyle and Brandon Carlo and everyone at the deadline, losing 3 in a row to Ottawa, Tampa, and Buffalo. That being said, they are starting a road trip. First period, maybe they can hop on Vegas a little bit coming off a 4-game road trip. Vegas off a shutout loss, by the way, 3-0 against the Detroit Red Wings. So we're going to just sprinkle on the over by factor here a little bit. I'm a little bit scarred from the other night where I had the over I did have the first period over with Boston and it cashed, but that full game over not cashing was so disappointing. It was 2-2 in the second, and we only got the overtime goal after that. It ended 2-2. But like I said, I'm going to take a shot that Boston gets on the board in the opening period with a goal, which you can get close to even money. And this might be over by fecta for me. I'll take a shot with the system play here because I think Vegas might try to open it up here. That was not a good finish to the road trip, losing to Buffalo and Detroit back-to-back, including getting blanked by the Red Wings. They could try to open it up here in this one here a little bit. So that over 1.5 in the first period definitely does make sense. I think if you look at the Bruins, too, just the recent games. I talked about how the Buffalo game was a first period over. The Tampa game ended up going over in the first period. And the Ottawa game was an over as well. So we've got a nice little over first period run starting to percolate here for Boston. 3 straight first period overs for the Bruins entering this game tonight. So, yeah, give me the over by Fecta here as well. Alex, what do you think? Boston, Vegas.
Yeah, this is a game where we can wait for everything live, in my opinion. So over by Facta live, I'm seeing minus 122 with that first period over. So I'd have a target of grabbing plus money a couple of minutes into the contest. But like you said, and Jonathan says in the chat too, you have this favorites minus 300. We've seen that trend kind of cool off a little bit.
That's why I'm keeping that small. The Boston to score in the first.
And if there's any team that maybe could be just kind of, looking, playing out the string, they're out west, nice weather, in Vegas and other nice warm locales, maybe their heads aren't really focused in it. We kind of alluded to that a couple of games ago as we were looking at Boston getting ready to go on this kind of trip. So this is a spot where I would just be looking for live spots and like I said, maybe look for Vegas team total, grab that in game. First period over, definitely will grab in game at over 5.5 as well.
Dorofeyev for Vegas for goal prop. I like it. Saad worth a look. Zaka and Geeky, I think, are worth a look. Zaka's starting to heat up from a goal scoring standpoint. And as we know, Morgan Geeky, he's been terrific much of the season. I'm going to take another shot, too, with our guy Husnadinov from Minnesota that's now with the Boston Bruins. Didn't score the last game, but he had scored in back-to-back, I think, before that. So take another shot as far as him with a goal prop tonight. All right, Carolina and San Jose, our final game of this massive Thursday slate. But we're not done. We've got Columbus, Pittsburgh. We'll talk about that, the one Friday game right after this one. We got Carolina minus 350 road favorites. The total here sitting at 6, shaded to the under. System tells me I've got to take San Jose to score in the first period here. If I'm committing to it, and again, we're talking about a north of minus 300 favorite, which apparently, according to Jonathan's numbers, has not been performing as well the first period, the team scoring, facing a minus 300 favorite. But I don't mind taking a shot with it here with San Jose in this spot because Carolina has been a team that has been very susceptible, I find, when they've been this monster favorite, whether it's 300 or 400. They've been very susceptible to giving up that first period goal to the opponent. So definitely something to keep in mind there that maybe San Jose can get on the board here early in this game. Don't know about win the game, obviously, because you are talking about a Hurricanes team that let's give them a decent amount of credit here for since the trade deadline, undefeated, 7-0 for the Carolina Hurricanes entering this game, playing great hockey. You see what they've done. They beat Calgary, Detroit, Boston, Winnipeg, Tampa, Detroit, Philly during this great 7-game win streak. San Jose just 1-4 in their last 5 games. And they're coming back home off a not as long of a road trip as they've had in the past for that spot that historically has been very tough on San Jose, coming back off a long road trip. This one was only 4 games. The Islanders, the Predators, the Blackhawks, and the Capitals to end it. But like I said, I'll take a shot here. San Jose in the first period gets on the board because Carolina, to me, quite honestly, has had quite the habit giving up that first period goal. And just to add a little spice to this regarding San Jose getting on the board, Carolina was a minus 500 range favorite hosting San Jose December the 10th. San Jose scored in the first period. Even though Carolina won that game 3-2, San Jose did score in the first period, and it was 1-1 after the opening period. So, yeah, I'm going to take a shot here with this San Jose team. I thought I had changed the graphic. There we go. I think we could take a shot here with San Jose to score in the first period. The both teams to score in the first period, I could see it as well. Definitely. I think that's worth a look. Like, if you think San Jose is going to score in the first period, which I think they have the chance to do, probably a good chance Carolina can get on the board as well early in this game when you factor in that it's going to be it's not going to be actually it's not going to be Georgiev tonight for San Jose. It's actually going to be hey there, Georgie Romanov is going to get the start here. First career NHL start for Georgie Romanov tonight for the San Jose Sharks. He made 3 relief appearances for San Jose the last 2 years, and his numbers at the NHL level, let me just take a look here. 3.38 goals against, 893 save percentage. He's posted, so we'll have to wait and see how it goes here. In 21 appearances with the Barracuda, the San Jose Barracuda in the American League, 3.1 goals against, 905 save percentage for him down there. So the numbers, for Georgi Romanov there are okay. They're not great. Carolina getting on the board in the first period is something I could see. That's probably the only 2 angles here. I think the full game, I don't trust San Jose. There's zero value even though they're playing great right now, there's zero value on the Carolina side. So I think I'm just going to hone in more on the opening period with San Jose to score in the opening period, probably over 1.5, and both teams to score in the first period. Alex, what do you think here? Hurricanes, Sharks.
Those are the 3 bets I made as well. San Jose to score first, or San Jose not to score first, but San Jose to first period goal.
Yeah.
Over a half, -104. I would probably look towards San Jose to score first though in game. Because we're having such a big discrepancy in price, you'll get a good plus price right off the hop with that. So San Jose first goal in first period in game, that might be something I'll look for to add on to. But also the first period over 1.5, -130. I laid that, and that both teams to score +178. That's a great price. Georgi Vaca, as I like to call him, Georgi Romanov, not that good of a goalie. Like I said, those numbers in the AHL, not that impressive. And what I saw from him in the one game where he made an appearance, he gives up some rebounds. That's something that Carolina loves, a goalie who gives up rebounds with the number of shots they get. So this could be a game that gets out of hand for Carolina. So maybe look for some things in game as well next to score props. This would be a good live game late. But definitely going with that first period over, first period, both teams to score, and San Jose to get on the board in the first period.
No, credit to Freddie Anderson. Last 3 starts, Cole. He's been really good, no doubt. But I'm still not fully there yet with Freddie. Need to see more. It's been a nice 3-game stretch. He's got a sub-2 goals against in his last 3 starts. Kochekov's on a 5-start win streak, and that's part of the reason why Carolina's won 7 in a row. Goaltending from both their guys has been good, whether it's Kochekov or whether it's Freddie Anderson, and they're going to need that. They're going to need both guys to be ready when the playoffs start.
Definitely,
and they need both guys to perform. Because my guess is we're going to see both goalies during their playoff run for Carolina. So the fact that both of them are in some good form right now, I'm sure it's music to Rod Brindamore's ears right now, seeing the way his goaltenders are performing. Now, can they keep it going is the big question. Why not bet Taylor Hall? I know it's not bargain bin price, but he scored in back-to-back games. He's starting to get a little comfort here with this Hurricanes team. My Dundas man, Mark Jankowski, +550. He's cooled off a little, but still, 2 of the last 5, 3 of the last 10 he scored for that price. Might be worth a shot there, in my opinion. And also, by the way, Seth Jarvis, 5 straight games with a point for him. We've got 2-game point streaks as well for both Toffoli and Celebrini for the Sharks. So there's definitely a few props that are to keep an eye on here. Like I said, great job, Freddie Anderson, the last 3 starts, but let's see more of it. All right, before we wrap it up, we've still got one more game to go. We are not on the air tomorrow. No show tomorrow because there's only one game and the tournament going on. We felt the perfect day to take a day off. We will do that, but we will talk about the Friday game right here and right now, the one and only Friday game in the NHL. Columbus Blue Jackets and Pittsburgh Penguins. Current line has Pittsburgh -135 home favorites. The total 5.5 here in this game. Again, this is the one and only Friday NHL game taking place tomorrow. I'm not laying a price with Pittsburgh. That much I can tell you. Even though they had been winning, they had the win streak snapped with that third period collapse against the Islanders the other night. So does that maybe send Pittsburgh? Does that bring Pittsburgh back down to earth a little bit? And credit to the Penguins, we talked about how it's hard to quit on the season when Sidney Crosby is your captain, and they have been playing like it with that 4-game win streak, and they beat some good teams too, New Jersey, St. Louis, Vegas, Minnesota, but they lose to the Islanders 4-2. Keep in mind, they were a dog in all those games. Let me repeat what Pittsburgh has done the last 2 times they were favored. The loss just 2 days ago to the Islanders when they were a favorite, And then they were a favorite before that. The last time they were a favorite before that was Boston, a home game against Boston as a -135 favorite, and they lost 3-2. So that tells you right there. Penguins as a favorite, no bueno for me. Not interested in the Penguins as a favorite. So it's Columbus or pass. But again, we're not going to make any decisions on this the day before. Let's see what happens with the Jackets tonight in their game against the Florida Panthers. It actually might be a stronger bet, believe it or not, if they lose. Let's say they lose and they look good, though, in the loss to Florida tonight. That's going to make them think, you know what? Yeah, we lost again, but we're close, boys. We're close to coming out of this thing and snapping this skid. And I think that could push them over the edge to finally maybe break out of it tomorrow night. I'd actually prefer Columbus if they lose tonight to the Florida Panthers as opposed to winning. Because winning, they might think, oh, we just beat the champs, and they relax a little bit. But either way, Columbus or pass as of right now. Probably over by Fector or pass as of right now as well. I cashed an over at 5.5 with Pittsburgh the other night. 5.5, so I'm not betting Pittsburgh under, I can tell you that. Alex, Friday night, the only game, just some initial thoughts, Columbus, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I would lean more toward Columbus if they end up playing in a kind of tougher contest and maybe get the loss tonight, as opposed to if they have, say, an easier kind of coasting win. This is a Pittsburgh team that has always played them well, give them fits, and obviously with Pittsburgh, trending in the wrong direction, Columbus playing a little bit better overall. I'm sure this is a game they certainly don't want to overlook, regardless of what happens tonight. They know they need points, so yeah, it would be a lean toward Columbus, but I definitely would wait until everything happens tonight before making any bets. So, of course, we'll have that on our Patreon page, post up tomorrow, anything that we do add on this game.
Yeah, no doubt. We, of course, if you're a Patreon member, even though there's no show tomorrow, we're obviously still going to post our sides, totals, and player props for that game tomorrow, and it'll be on Friday on the Patreon page for everybody. So check the Patreon page. Of course, we'll have the card for Columbus, Pittsburgh posted on the page tomorrow, like always. And by the way, just one note, Merzlikins is starting for Columbus tonight against Florida, which means there's probably a good chance it's Daniil Tarasov that'll get the nod for the back-to-back spot Friday night in the Berg against the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, good stuff. There you have it. What a show. To get through 14 games plus a 15th game, because we are doing the one Friday game on today's show, in an hour and 20 minutes. That's not bad. So hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Yes, no show tomorrow. And like I say, why? It just makes sense. No show tomorrow. There's only one game. We tacked it on to the end of today's show, especially with the tournament going on. That just made it a no-brainer to me to say, you know what, we'll have no show tomorrow, and we will end up, obviously, getting the show back on Saturday, and looking forward to that for sure. Saturday. Shaking your head. Did something go wrong with the tournament results or something?
Yeah, just an air ball 3 by Montana, and it looks like Wisconsin's going to run the clock out. So I had Montana plus 16.5. That's dead in the water. But a lot of that madness going on today. So
yeah, it's an up and down start for me in the tournament. The good was Creighton in the over against Louisville.
Creighton,
easier.
Creighton
Great
too.
Bets. Bad was High Point in the over, and we went 0-2 there.
Oh no, you were on High Point?
Yeah.
I hit a parlay. I had Purdue parlayed with Lawyer to hit 2 threes. So yeah.
Don't you dare be calling us lazy, Jonathan. I know you're being funny, but still, don't you dare be calling us lazy, man. The only fucking NHL betting show that's on 7 days a week and does every game all season long. Don't you dare say anything about lazy. You take that word and you stick it up your, you know what. There's nothing lazy about these two guys or this show. I know you're kidding, though. All right, good stuff. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. $10 per month. Again, goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card posted each and every day. Sides, totals, player props on the page. $10 per month. Again, make sure you sign up because the Tuesday next week, Patreon exclusive live betcast. It's been a while since we've had a betcast. I kind of missed them, but obviously because of how hectic it is with the tournament, we've had to, not have any for the last few weeks, but we're back next Tuesday, March 25th. Patreon exclusive live betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, the only way to tune in to the betcast and join us on the stream is to be a Patreon member. So make sure you sign up for just $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys. And again, your subscription goes a long way to helping us out and supporting the show long term. So make sure you get on board if you haven't already, because we are loading up with betcasts, and many of them will be Patreon exclusive in April and beyond for the rest of the regular season and playoffs. So get on board now, just $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Free standard shipping is here today and for the next 7 days. You get free standard shipping at checkout. So just add everything to your cart and hit the redeem button at the homepage. You have free standard shipping available at the checkout page. We've got new merch in stock as well. And we're going to bring a couple of old favorites back, too, upon request. I know somebody was mentioning about the Skinner shirt yesterday, so that will be back in the store this weekend as well. So take advantage of the free standard shipping right now for the next week. That's available at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, yeah, make sure you check it out, get the free standard shipping, take advantage of that. Again, make sure you check it out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, we got bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up. And boy, I don't think we have much to choose from tonight on this Thursday card, but we'll find something. Bargain bin special of the night and best bets, obviously a loaded slate, coming up in just a moment right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this massive Thursday NHL card. 14 games to choose from. I don't think it's possible to find something we like, honestly, on this bargain bin for this bargain bin special segment. Alex, kidding, of course. Alex, what do you think here? Bargain bin special tonight.
Yeah, go to arguably the game of the night. Vancouver taking on St. Louis. That battle for that final wild card spot. It's going to be a big one. And obviously, when you have big games like that, big moments, you want to rely on your captain. I'm looking at St. Louis, looking at Braden Shin. Anytime goal scorer, you get plus 360 available at DraftKings, plus 350 available at FanDuel and a couple other spots. Looking for him to get on the board tonight. So we'll go with Braden Shin, anytime goal scorer for St. Louis, taking on Vancouver. That is my Thursday bargain bin special.
All right, good stuff. Braden Shen, St. Louis Blues, someone I used just recently. Didn't score that night, but doesn't mean he won't tonight for the St. Louis Blues. And it's funny you mention him because I'm also going to go to someone from the St. Louis Blues. Not Braden Shen, but it's a St. Louis Blues player that I've got for my bargain bin special of the night as well for this game tonight. It's a beautiful day to score a goal, a beautiful day to score a goal. Put it in the net, put it in the net. Won't you be my neighbor? Jake Neighbors for the St. Louis Blues. It's been a while since we've used our guy Jake Neighbors in the Bargain Bin Special segment, but he's on a 3-game goal-scoring streak, and he is Bargain Bin material, plus 355, the best price out there for him to find the back of the net tonight. He's really played well. Great chemistry right now up on the top unit with Thomas and Buchnevich. Jake Neighbors, plus 355 for the St. Louis Blues. That'll be my Bargain Bin Special of the night for this Thursday. All right, best bets for this big Thursday slate. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Well, we've gone to them time and time again this year, and they've done very well for us. Let's go with the Montreal Canadiens. Get them plus 120 game tonight. Wait to pop it up on my screen. Yeah, Montreal Canadiens. There we go. Habs plus 120 on the money line there. This is, like I said, another big spot for them. And he said 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. We've been cashing with them usually as a smaller favorite or a small mid-sized dog. So let's go with them once again in a dog place. The Bleu Blanc et Rouge plus 120 is my Thursday best bet.
There you go. Bleu Blanc Rouge. Au Canadien, au Canadien. There you go. Montreal plus 120 against the New York Islanders for Alex B. Smith with his best bet. My best bet for this Thursday NHL card. A lot of good choices out there, man. It's a really good slate. How about 2? We're off tomorrow. I'm a giving man. Let's go with 2. 2 best bets tonight since we're not on tomorrow. Let's go with Montreal and the New York Islanders over 5.5 minus 120. I like that. I like Montreal too, but I really like that total. Both teams are starting to score a little bit more. So over 5.5 with Montreal and the New York Islanders tonight as one. And the other is going to be Winnipeg. I like how this sets up plus 100 against Edmonton. They played the Oilers well. They're off a game that's not going to sit well with them against Vancouver the way they played. They get to face Edmonton with no Draisaitl. I think the Jets bounce back and win in oil country tonight. So 2 best bets, Habs Isles over 5.5 minus 120 and Winnipeg plus 100 against Edmonton. There you have it. A bonus, 2 best bets for the price of one show. Actually, the price of nothing. The show is free for best bets here for this Thursday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Again, no show on Friday. We did the Friday game on today's show. Columbus, Pittsburgh. So make sure you check that out. We will be back, though, for sure, Saturday for the monster slate, as it always is on a Saturday. I think we're looking at another 14 game or close to it on Saturday. So make sure you're there with us, noon Eastern on Saturday. Looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night and a great Friday. Enjoy the hockey. Enjoy the March Madness in college basketball. Good luck with all your bets. And we will see you again on Saturday at noon Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.